Last night, the Denver Nuggets and their fans suffered from a huge scare in which it looked like their season could have been possibly over. What happened was Nikola Jokic ended up injuring his knee on a play towards the end of the second quarter. And on this play, Jaime Jaquez, I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing his name right, Jaime Jaquez drives to the hole and pushes off of Spencer Jones, who plays for the Nuggets. Spencer Jones then ends up falling right into Jokic because he can't get his balance back. And because he falls into Jokic, he ends up hyperextending Jokic's knee just by falling into him. He steps on his foot, his body, then hits, I think, a part of his knee, and Jokic is then in just some pain. You can watch the replay, but it looked really bad. And a lot of people thought it was the worst, that it would be an ACL tear. And you could definitely see Jokic's huge importance for the Nuggets, especially in that game, because prior to getting hurt, he had 21 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds. The score was tied 63-63 heading into halftime. After halftime, Jokic did not return to the game. And the Nuggets ended up losing the game 147-123, in which the Nuggets were outscored by, I'm just trying to do the math right now in my head, 84-60. So Miami had an 84-60 point advantage once Jokic was gone for the game. So that shows you how big Jokic is for the Nuggets, especially now with all the injuries they've suffered this season. But it was a huge blow. Nugget players were down. The coach was down because everyone had just assumed that he had torn his ACL and this was it for this season. Completely gone. Forget about it. But the good news is Jokic is fine. He is hurt, but it's not major. His knee injury is just a hyperextended knee with a bone bruise. So it's not too bad. From what I've read, it could keep him out for 3 to 4 weeks. I'm sure the Nuggets will be cautious and not rush him back. He'll possibly be back in 4 weeks. If anything, I would say this just hurts his chances of winning another MVP award. He had a really good chance at it. I think him and SGA were neck and neck again. So him getting hurt will probably cause him to miss 16 or 17 games. The NBA has a rule on how many games you can miss to qualify for awards. I think he passes that threshold if he misses that many games. So he'll definitely miss out on getting the MVP award. I know some Jokic fans will be ticked off about it, just pissed off about that. He's now not going to have a chance to get a 4th league MVP after having a historical season. So that seems to be taken away. But one thing about this injury I would like to address is that the way he got hurt, I've seen a lot of plays during this NBA season so far where the offensive player is now allowed to push off and get away with it. I've heard some people say that they have now included that in the rules where you can push off with your forearm, which I think is wrong because it's like the NBA is taking away every possible defensive advantage the defender can have. Like they've stripped so much over the last 10 years, I feel, with all these bullshit rules, like the freedom of movement rule they had, these other rules where you can't touch the defender anymore. They got rid of hand checking, 15 years ago, it seems about that. It's just made defenses weaker and weaker and weaker. And I'm thinking, why do you have to consistently do this? What's up with this? Like, why can't we just have an NBA game where defenders can defend and they don't have to be stripped away of their defensive abilities to the point that they're traffic cones? That's what it feels like. They're just traffic cones and they can't do nothing. Like, to me, it's just insane. I don't get it. I feel scoring's too damn high now that you have games that are like 180 to 170. It really wouldn't surprise me if we get an NBA team to score eventually above 200 points. I think it'll happen probably in a double overtime game, heck, maybe even an overtime game, the way things are going now. But I think it's going to happen pretty soon, if not this season, next season, unless the rules are changed. That's how ridiculous things are getting. But going back to Jokic's injury, it's going to have a huge implications, I think, on the Nuggets for sure when it comes to the standings because they've had so many injuries now. A bunch of their stars are out. I know Cam Johnson's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. Aaron Gordon looks like he's still going to be out for a while. And now Jokic is gone. Also, Christian Braun was hurt, so he was gone for a while. They've been a mash unit now. Now it's just Jamal Murray, Tim Hardaway Jr., and a bunch of spare pieces, as they would say, in Valanciunas. Valanciunas will now obviously be a starter in Jokic's place. The question is, can the Nuggets play even 500 ball without Jokic right now? I think that's going to be the challenge for them. They'll probably fall in the West for sure. They could drop anywhere between, I think, 6 to 8. I think that's how far they can fall in his absence. So it'll be interesting to see how they do the next few weeks. I am glad he's not hurt, even though I'm a Spurs fan. I definitely do not want to see Jokic get hurt and have it be a season-ending injury. He's my favorite player currently in the league. I love watching him play. Even if it comes to the expense of my Spurs, if they face the Nuggets in the playoffs and they have to deal with him, I just view it that, it's just something you just have to deal with. If you want to be the best, you got to go through the best. So I don't shy away from that potential matchup if it happens. I think it would be exciting. Plus, I just think the league is more exciting when you have a bunch of great players like Jokic healthy, playing at their highest abilities. It makes basketball matchup-wise more fun, especially in the playoffs. When you look at the West, you need to have established teams to make things interesting. Right now, you have two established teams in Oklahoma City Thunder and the Nuggets. Both have been champions. And then you have some young and upcoming teams in the Spurs, Rockets, Minnesota Timberwolves. And then you just have the Lakers, which is always fun to see them fail. And I think they will fail again when it comes to the playoffs. But all these teams make matches more entertaining, makes the playoffs worthwhile watching, where if you have less stars, it makes things less entertaining in the playoffs. So you want to see all these guys healthy just for the fun of it if you're a fan of the game. So I'm glad he's fine and that he'll eventually come back. Granted, it will suck if the Nuggets end up as a low seed and they're facing, especially the Spurs in round one. I would hate that matchup, but you just deal with it as it comes. But they could definitely be a spoiler if they fall 6 through 8. Whoever plays them in round one will definitely not want to play them in round one because they just won't be your typical first round matchup. So that's how I could really skew things going forward. But that's all I have to say about this.